married for 3 years, this girl is still pregnant. Her mother-in-law made it difficult for her. Which is the kicking leg hitter. The body is injured every day. Lindsay naively thought that just a little patience would pass. However, her husband is even more excessive. He takes another woman home. This woman is also a close friend of Lindsay. At first she didn't think much. It just felt like the three of them were like one family. But as she picked up the chopsticks on the ground, she saw her husband and best friend being intimate. After their relationship was exposed, Kana had revealed her nature. Even if you're married, you have to take care of yourself. Who will look at you when you have to do chores for all day? Lindsay dumped all of her husband's mistakes on her head. She blamed her belly for not doing anything good. Somehow her husband was even more outrageous. He took Kana home directly to do the thing. This time Lindsay couldn't help it. She had to open the door to expose their disgust. Suddenly stopped by her mother-in-law. Stop being selfish. My son is so brilliant. Isn't it good for me to have more grandchildren? Very soon Kana became pregnant. Her mother-in-law told Lindsay to divorce in favor of Kana. She even pretended to apologize to Lindsay. But then deliberately slandered Lindsay. Said she hated her unborn child. Bruce didn't clarify that and he had slapped Lindsay. Her mother-in-law also scolded her harshly. Lindsay felt her head about to explode. She wanted to leave this house. But suddenly she found out she was pregnant. She wanted to report this to her mother-in-law. However, her mother-in-law doesn't believe it. Not bothering to look at it, she threw her ultrasound image on the ground. Mom, why don't you care if I'm pregnant? While can a pregnant mom treat her so well? The mother-in-law not only did not listen, but also pushed Lindsay to fall. When she saw the bleeding, she knew that Lindsay was pregnant. But Kana told her not to save Lindsay. Lindsay had lived enough of these days. After the divorce, she brought her son to attend her husband's wedding. Lindsay, why are you here? Lindsay was astonished to find her best friend in her room doing it to her husband. The mother-in-law knew not only not to stop, but also blamed her for affecting her to carry her grandchildren. The two shook hands and pushed Lindsay down. She nearly miscarried. Lindsay watched desperately as the two walked away. This moment she decided to divorce vengeance. A few years later at the wedding of her ex-husband and her best friend, Lindsay brought her son to attend. Lindsay, why did you come here? Kana pulled Bruce back and yelled at Lindsay. Seeing that Lindsay refused to go and tried to hit her. Expect Bruce to fight back. Kana wanted to check in with Lindsay when she saw her mother-in-law coming. She again feigned a stomach ache. Want to take advantage of her mother-in-law to teach Lindsay? Surely the mother-in-law she just met slapped Lindsay? Afraid she would miss her son's wedding, she sent her away. Mom, I brought my son today. Just wanted to let my son go see his dad. When everyone was dumbfounded, Lindsay chose to move again. Because her first step of revenge was successful. Has left their families at odds. They're about to meet the alarm. Lindsay deliberately didn't specify if the kid was Bruce's. Ned smartly understood. But being made a bit arrogant by me. Probably because Ned didn't have his dad around. Just a few simple sentences made her mother-in-law lose her judgment. She was going to ask Lindsay in person. Lindsay knew her mother-in-law was someone who liked money. So she prepared a lot of jewelry and bribed her immediately. Eventually her mother-in-law took her home. Also helped her save Cinna's slap. Hearing the two argue, Lindsay knew her plan was going one step further. She also used this time to give her mother-in-law a lot of brand stuffs. Sure enough, after Kana saw it, had a quarrel with her mother-in-law. The two of them went to the hospital because of this. Bruce is my darling son. Hearing that her mother had been beaten, she went to teach Kana. Lindsay thought she had avenged herself. Unexpectedly, Kana still accepts the infatuation. Put drugs in her alcohol. And take her to Bruce's cousin. Lindsay was robbed of her husband by her best friend. He was pushed down by his mother-in-law, almost miscarried. So she had to get a divorce. A few years later she took her son to take revenge. I'm just taking my son to see today. Me and Bruce are divorced and nothing is going on. It's just that I want my son to see his dad. Is this Bruce's son? Is this my child? Just a few simple sentences from Lindsay had messed up their wedding. Pregnant Kana faints. This was just Lindsay's first step of revenge. She then used the money and branded goods to bribe her mother-in-law. So she also became more and more displeased with Kana. The two also fought in the hospital. Lindsay seeing Kana being chased away, she was extremely amused. So she prepared to begin the second step to take Bruce back. At this point he called to say he was drunk. To avenge Kana. Lindsay had intentionally told her this. Bruce, he hasn't come home yet, has he? What do you mean? He's at my place, drunk. as Bruce knelt down begging Lindsay for forgiveness. Kana went in. She wanted to teach Lindsay but was slapped for one shot by her husband. The cousin hurriedly went over and pulled Kana out. When Lindsay thought she had succeeded, then his cousin and Kana revealed their true faces. It turned out that the two were a couple, robbing Lindsay's husband, giving Lindsay and Bruce a chance. It's all about their property. I'm afraid they don't know yet. The unborn child of Kana is cousins. Son, what do you want to eat today? Dad will take you to. Only know how to take out boys as an excuse. Just kept holding on. Wait until the birth of our son. Lindsay and Jasper clan's money is ours. To be able to quickly get assets. Kana pretends to apologize to Lindsay. The goal is to put drug in her alcohol. Lindsay had no suspect to drink it. After fainting, she was taken to the hotel. Kana let her cousin go into Lindsay's room to stain her. When he was about to get his will,